What's Jablin, Jables?
Hello, Audioholics. This is Logan, and welcome to Audioholics Unite.
Kidding, we're actually called Jablinski Games.
No, we aren't.
This is Jack Black and Kyle speaking. We are Tenacious D here to bring you a review
I'm
of
sorry.
Puddle
We have taste here on Audioholics Unite. And speaking of taste, Puddle of Mud released an album like last year.
Yeah, no one cares.
That was a thing.
No one cares. Nobody ever cared.
So the reason that we are actually covering this now, because it came out like a year ago, is because
people care now.
Yeah, kind of.
So there's like a shitty cover going around that Puddle of Mud did about a girl by Nirvana, and
about a girl, am I right?
Made them somewhat. Fuck you. It's made them somewhat relevant again.
Oh, snow.
So here we are, covering one of the worst albums of last year.
Exactly.
Actually, I'll be honest, I've only listened to like the first 4 or 5 tracks. I turned it off out of like annoyance. I hated it.
So I will get to my opinions of Puddle of Mud in a bit.
I feel like we should be transparent about the fact that we're not going into this album blind, though.
Yeah, so well, we kind of are. So we're going into it like semi-blind. We both listened to about 3 or 4 tracks. He turned it off because he just absolutely hated it. I turned it off because I kind of wanted to. We were just talking. You know that, like when you're listening to an album or like watching a TV show or a movie with your friends, and you're both just like so distracted by like talking to each other that you don't even pay attention to the album.
Honestly, that probably improves the experience of listening to a Puddle of Mud record.
Well, yeah, but like I want to at least hear the deep lyrical architecture of Puddle of Mud.
Yeah, the deep philosophical themes.
Now, see, she hates me. Now, she represents the system. So the system hates me. The system is really bringing me down.
And me represents society as a whole. We do indeed live in a society.
We live in a society!
Oh, God.
All right. So, can we procrastinate this a little bit longer?
We're going to watch the cover, and we're going to laugh at it because it's funny.
Okay. So, I gave you, like, controlling rights. Did you accept that?
No, I think I have to request it again myself.
Yeah, I set it to automatic.
All right.
But,
here we go.
Part of the reason this is so bad is because I actually kind of will defend Puddle of Mud. Like, Control is a good song. Blurry is an okay song. And Famous is an okay song. Like, Puddle of Mud, I'm not going to, like, say they are, like, you know, better than Dream Theater, better than Tool, better than the Beatles. Even though they will probably say that. But, and we'll get to that later. But, like, I think that they make some good kind of garbage junk food rock. They're sort of like, you know, they're sort of like Seether or
just call it what it is, butt
or
rock.
Something like that.
It's butt rock.
But it's
not quality butt rock.
It's a grain of sand better than like Nickelback though.
No, I would say Nickelback is way better than Puddle.
You are saying okay. I just want you
genuinely.
I want this on here for the record. You are saying right here, right now on Audioholics Unite that Nickelback is a better band than Puddle of Mud.
Yeah, I have no problem saying that. Nickelback is way better.
All right, here's the here's the $1 million question. What are your thoughts on Buck Cherry?
Buck Cherry's worse than Puddle Mud.
Really?
Buck Cherry's pretty bad.
You listened to Buck Cherry, though, so I mean, like...
Yeah, when I was, 10.
Okay, but you tried to get me into Buck Cherry, and you only got out of Buck Cherry when I told you how absolutely dog shit garbage they are.
I don't remember this. I remember telling you to listen to that album as a joke.
What?
I remember
you were like,
you listen to that album as a joke.
Oh my god, this is such good classic rock music. They have classic rock influences.
No, listen. I saw Buck Cherry live, and I never went back.
Oh God, I would hate. Tell me what a Buck Cherry as a veteran.
Well, for one,
of
it was
Buck
empty.
Cherry.
It was empty. There's no one fucking there. This was at Rock Allegiance one year. This was a rock and roll festival. There was no one else playing at the time, and there was still nobody there. Everybody else was just like, all right, this is the time for us to go get a hot dog. And the few people who were there were disappointed because Buck Cherry sounded like shit. Who's surprised?
You know what that reminds me of? So Opie and Anthony, which is there was Sirius XM. Well, they used to be a Sirius XM show, then they got taken off the air, but basically they're the worst version of the Howard Stern show.
Okay.
They were talking about Warrant. Warrant did a reunion concert. And this was the first time they did a concert in 10 years or whatever. And there in the first 2 rows, there were some 40, 50 something women wearing a lot less than they really should. There was maybe 1 or 2 more rows of people, and then the entire stadium was just crickets. The entire rest of the studio was just crickets. And what really brought that home, they said, was Warren was are you having a good time? And then they throw their drumsticks, and you can audibly hear the echo of the ding, 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 of the drumsticks just hitting nothing.
Warrant fucking sucks.
Warrant's
they showed up for cherry pie and left.
Dude, if you like cherry pie, watch is it the Rock Critic, I think, or Crash Thompson? It's one of them.
It was probably Crash Thompson.
Crash Thompson, right. He did this top 10 worst songs of the year 1990, I think.
Yeah, that was definitely Crash.
And he put cherry pie as number 1. And if you watch that, you will never, and you enjoy cherry pie, which I never did.
I mean, I played it on Guitar Hero, and I always thought it was just something that fit in with the rest of the
if you
songs.
actually listen to the song, it is disgusting. It is unbelievably disgusting.
My first Guitar Hero game was Guitar Hero Rocks the 80s. And so that shit is just full of Warrant, Poison, and a bunch of other cringy 80s bands.
What are you talking about? Every rose is my thorn is.
I'm pretty sure that was on it too.
Every rose is my thorn is the best song ever, yo.
I'll tell you, I'm gonna look it up right now and tell you what was on that game.
All right, but right now though, let's. I mean, I don't really want to because this is
Let's just keep procrastinating, bro. We don't have to.
This is okay. So this is a song. This is a cover of a band that I love. I especially love this song Unplugged. Nirvana did a great Unplugged version. His singing is actually really terrible on that, but it's still kind of good in its own right.
There's actually more good songs on this than I remember there being.
But
I'm looking at
this
the
version. Let's just listen to it. Okay.
Well, before you do that, I'm going to tell you what was on here. So we have Skid Row, 18 in Life, Poison, Ain't Nothing But a Good Time,
No.
Ballroom Blitz by Crocus.
I didn't know they did a version of that.
Balls to the Wall by Accept.
Oh, nice.
Metal Health by Quiet Riot.
Okay, I like that song.
Bathroom Wall by Faster Pussycat.
I've heard of that band, but I've actually never. No, I think I have listened to them, and they like mostly, like if I remember right, it was like I had an opportunity to see them live, and I never did. It was either them or Firehouse.
My dad actually went and saw Firehouse not too long ago. He said they were actually really good.
If I remember, it was like Firehouse, like they're like I never actually listened to them, but like their top 5 songs on Spotify were all ballads.
Yeah, they are. But
yeah,
apparently Firehouse was doing like a bunch of crazy soloing and stuff like that live.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Tesla was pretty good live.
Because It's Midnight by Limousine.
Never heard of that.
Cotton Amash by Anthrax.
Okay.
Electric Eye, Judas Priest.
Hell yeah.
Heat of the Moment, Asia.
Yeah!
Holy Diver, Dio.
Yeah!
Hold On Loosely by 38 Special.
Boo.
Okay, you're going to love this one. It's a flock of eagles, or a flock of seagulls.
Yes!
You know what it is?
Oh, dude, I ran so far. Dude, okay, Flock of Seagulls is like one of the most underrated bands ever. Like they have an entire, like their one album is like total nonstop Nirvana.
I mean, I've only ever heard the one song, but
it's a good song.
It's all right. I Wanna Rock by Twisted Sister.
Yeah.
Lonely as the Night by Billy Squier.
I like Billy Squier.
Los Angeles by X.
Oh, wow. Really? That's semi-obscure. I actually like that.
Because there's no one like you. Scorpions.
Good song.
Only a Lad by Oingo Boingo.
What the fuck? I've heard of them. They do like weird. I think they were kind of like Primus before Primus. If like I've never actually listened to them, but like I think they were like Primus before Primus.
Play With Me by Extreme.
Oh,
You're gonna
Extreme.
like this one. Police Truck by the Dead Kennedys.
Yes.
All right, and I'm not going to list any of the other ones because no one really cares, but there's White Lion, Rat, Winger, Eddie Money. The Police is here with Synchronicity, too. The Vapors, Scandal,
yes.
The Go-Go's, The Romantics, What I Like About You, and finally Wrathchild by Iron.
Yes.
That was
Paul Di'Anno Maiden is better than Bruce Dickinson Maiden. I will fight anybody who disagrees with me.
I disagree with you. Listen,
okay.
I think Paul Di'Anno is a better singer, but Dickinson has better material.
I think it's the opposite. I think Bruce Dickinson is a better singer, but Paul Di'Anno has better material.
Really? You think Paul Di'Anno, like Killers, has better songs on it than something like Power Slave?
Yes. Well, maybe not Killers, but the original Iron Maiden is better than Power Slave. I listened to that album like almost on a monthly basis. I listened to Power Slave. I still listen to Power Slave a lot, but like Iron Maiden self-titled album is like one of my favorite albums ever made.
Have I gotten into the fact that I don't really like Maiden on this podcast yet? I don't think you have. I'm not going to get too much into it because I'm sure we'll cover a Maiden a Maiden album at some point, but
they've been talking about making a new album for like the past like year or so I'm sure it'll come up eventually.
My basic opinion of Maiden is that they are all right. I think basically everyone was better than them at the time that they were big, and I think that the people who have been influenced by Maiden, such as your Dragon Forces, your Halloweens, they're better in every way. That's just my opinion, but I never really liked Dickinson as a vocalist. I've never really liked Di'Anno as a vocalist.
Like, I respect that opinion, but I think also, like, you have to at least acknowledge, like, the fact that they are as influential as they are, they deserve to be influential.
I agree to that.
They deserve the status that they have. I would not say they are overrated or underrated.
I would say they're slightly overrated. I don't think they deserve God-tier status that people give them.
I think they do. Like, I'm not going to say, like, everything they've ever done is perfect. Even stuff in the 80s. Like, I don't really care for Somewhere in Time. I don't even really care for Peace of Mind, really. Like, I like The Trooper, and I like The Trooper. I like Flight of Icarus. Was Die With Your Boots on that album. Like, it's not as consistently good as, like, Number of the Beast or even Power Slave.
Really? Because, okay, I know, like, you don't really agree with this opinion, but I think Razorfist hit it right on the head when he said Number of the Beast is full of filler.
I definitely disagree. 22 Acacia Avenue.
I mean, that's a good song.
Run to the Hills.
Classic.
Number of the Beast.
Classic. But
Invaders is a good song. That's a deep track that like not a lot of people talk about. Invaders.
Other than those, like,
Children of the Damned. What was the last song? Hallowed Be Thy Name. Like the entire album.
Oh, that's
I think there might be like. I think there was like one song on that album that I actually didn't really like, and I actually can't remember it because that's how like much of a memory it cast on me. That might be it. Yeah.
Gangland.
Yeah. No, The Prisoner was all right, but I think Gangland, if I remember right, wasn't that good.
Yeah, like going through all of the songs I don't like: Invaders, Children of the Damned, The Prisoner. Those are the first 3 tracks. I do like.
You don't like Children of the
Avenue.
Damned? You don't like Children of the Damned? That's a great song.
Number of the Beast. Ran to the Hills, Gangland Sucks, Hallowed Be Thy Name. So there's only really 4 songs on the album I think are worth listening to. And honestly,
I think there's one song that isn't worth listening to, but that's why God invented the skip button.
And honestly, like the title track doesn't really hold up to some of the better songs on Power Slave or even Peace of Mind. I think Peace of Mind is almost better in every way than this record.
I don't really like Peace of Mind. Maybe it's just like me not really caring for power metal, and like Number of the Beast is good because it's kind of like the transition between like the sort of like punk new wave shit and like the power metal they would become.
Power Slave, I will always say, is their best album because every song on that album is just a straight band.
And then also Fear of the Dark is pretty good.
That's really underrated, actually. A lot of people hate Fear of the Dark. I can never understand why.
I don't get... Afraid to Shoot Strangers is like one of the best metal songs of all time. It's like right up there with One by Metallica.
Is amazing.
Yeah, but I like Afraid to Shoot Strangers more.
Oh, me too. I'm just saying the title track.
Be Quick or Be Dead is a really good song too. What was the other song with Charlotte the Harlot? From Here to Eternity. That's a good song. Yeah, all right, let's stop procrastinating. Let's just.
I also really like Chains of Misery, by the way. It's a great song.
Yeah.
All right. Let's just get on to this train wreck.
All right, take it like a Band-Aid. 1, 2, 2.5. All right. Like instrumentally, it actually sounds pretty cool. Like it has like the wood plank thing.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like the percussion is really interesting. I think the instrumentals as a whole are really well done. I mean, don't get me wrong. This song is one of the easiest songs to play on acoustic guitar. I mean, and frankly, that's true of Nirvana in general. They have very simplistic rhythms.
Yeah, that was kind of like their charm back in the day.
Yeah, I mean, you can look down on them for that now, but I think instrumentally this is almost better than the original.
Yeah.
Just look at that.
This is the longest sneeze I have ever heard. This is like, you know what it is? It's like, you know, like when people like parody Limp Bizkit or Nickelback or something, it sounds exactly like that. Puddle of Mud.
Ladies and gentlemen!
Ladies and gentlemen! Oh my god, you know what I just realized? Hold on.
He sounds like Eric Cartman.
Exactly! Mom! Hey! Stop eating my papa!
Oh my god. It's just so bad. Look at the bassist too. Like I want to draw attention to that. He's just like done.
He's just like, I have no part of this. I had no part in this. Look, I'm just gonna be honest. We like rolled back a few brewskis and just just let the cards fall where they may, you know. Wow, you hang me out to dry. I can see you every. Like, what you have to realize is that they rehearsed this. They had to have rehearsed this at some point, like, just to make sure, like, the tuning and shit was right. And to, like, kind of have an idea of, like, what the structure was going to be, and, like,
they were
make
just
sure
like,
everybody
let's
was
do it.
aligned.
He sounds great.
They were just like, fuck it, let's do this.
The best part about this is someone must have listened to this, watched this video, and was like, yep, I'm uploading this.
I'm uploading this. Somebody fucking Tid.
Well, this is a re-upload.
Yeah, I know, but like, hold on. Can I like read the comments real quick?
Yes.
Like, I actually like Puddle of Mud, but this is gold.
This is just amazing.
I thought this would be awful, but it's somehow worse than I expected. I agree. He sounds like he's trying to hold in a mental break. I mean,
he doesn't sound like he's holding it in very well.
Yeah. You know what? This is just mood. Like, when you've eaten like an entire pepperoni pizza and you're on the toilet and you're just really just
people are like, hey bro, you want another slice of pizza? Rain! I do. I do.
You know what it sounds like? It sounds like some jackass yelling, Ree!
That's like an autistic kid running down the streets.
All right, so if that weren't bad enough,
his response to this was just so bad.
Puddle of Mud. Frontman fires back at critics after Nirvana cover goes viral. Quote, toxic people are a waste of time.
Scroll down to the actual post.
You read it. You read it.
Or here, I can do it. I can scroll down to it. Because he actually posted on Instagram. That's where his response was. Okay, here we go.
Is there like a screenshot?
Yeah, there is. Here we go. View post. Come on.
It's not loading.
It's not loading.
Oh, no!
Oh, no. Okay, well, I mean, the text loaded, so scroll back up. Okay. It says, rise above others who try and take you down. I'm at my best now! And that's all that matters. I pray for all of you because we care. Jealousy is toxic, and toxic people are a waste of time. We walk away with nothing but a smile! Question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark.
Wait, we walk away with a smile?
Hashtag Puddle of Mud. Hashtag my best life. Hashtag love. Hashtag sober. Hashtag sober life. Hashtag toxic people suck. Hashtag family comes first. Hashtag music. Hashtag success.
Look,
hashtag good vibes only.
If this is what you sound like sober, then maybe you should go back on the wagon. Like,
I love how he says I'm at my best now.
I'm at my best now.
That's your best? Was that your best?
You know what? I would play this, but like I don't want to get like a copyright strike. He actually did like an unplugged thing of Blurry a long time ago, and it actually sounds like fairly okay. Like it sounds normal.
Well, yeah, and just in general, okay, so I actually heard a semi-good explanation for this cover. So a long time ago, I guess Wes Scantlin, the lead singer of Puddle of Mud, used to be able to do a really, really good Kurt Cobain impression.
He was in a Nirvana cover band.
Back before he blew his voice. But after years of alcohol abuse and drug abuse and destroying his voice, he tried to do the same thing here that he used to do, and it just didn't work. I mean, okay, listen. Kurt Cobain's vocals were always nasally garbage. He was never a good singer.
Yeah, like nobody's saying like Kurt Cobain is like the greatest. Nobody's saying like Kurt Cobain is Pavarotti or anything.
No, but like I would make the argument Dave Mustaine is a better metal singer than Kurt Cobain is.
Well, I mean, like I don't know if I would like put grunge and metal in the same category.
I didn't. I said like I said, I'm just face palming. Kurt Cobain is not good at grunge singing. That's my problem with him.
Yeah, like Chris Cornell and
Chris Cornell is the creme of the crop, right?
Yeah.
But you have people like Pearl Jam who have absolutely terrible vocals.
Well, like, even Alice in Chains, they're nasally as fuck, but, like, they kind of have an art to it.
I think Alice in Chains works, and I don't think Puddle of Mud works. I don't think Nirvana works. I don't think Pearl Jam works.
Puddle of Mud
by the way,
works. We're just jealous.
Let's talk about this right now. Puddle of Mud is not a new metal band. Puddle of Mud is a post-grunge band.
I agree. Okay? Like that's kind of like the thing that like kind of upsets me the most is like people kind of and to be fair, there's a reason for that. I think Fred Durst was like the person who like kind of like promoted Puddle of Mud. Yeah. But like a lot of people as a result of that kind of compared them to Limp Bizkit, and I don't think they're really in the same category. Like there's no like rap influence. There's no like industrial influence or anything like that.
But back to what I was saying about him blowing his vocal cords. Like he goes and he tries to do the same thing he used to do. And like I said, I don't think Kurt Cobain was ever a good singer. But if you can't even sing Kurt Cobain, maybe you should just hang up the grunge cape. You know what I mean? Like he clearly can't do it anymore. So stop trying to, you know?
Yeah.
You can, okay, and also, like, there are people who have covered this song in ways that their voices are able to do it. Tune down a half step, tune down a full step, tune down two steps.
It's worse. Puddle of Mud themselves did a live cover of it, and it actually sounded fine.
Oh, yeah, I saw that, too.
Like, they did it back in, I think, 2005. And it sounded fine.
That was back before he blew his voice.
Exactly. So, like, that's proof that he can do that right. He can actually sound quite a bit like Kurt Cobain. And he was, like, in I don't know if it was specifically a Nirvana tribute band, but they played a lot of, like, Nirvana songs in it. And, like, that was before Puddle of Mud got famous.
Yeah.
And so fucking jaded. But, you see what I did there?
Unfortunately.
But like there's just like mounting evidence to kind of like support that claim that like Puddle of Mud could do that. And like, but here's the thing. Knowing all of that and that explanation, that makes it even worse. Because that means he just gave so little of a fuck that he just croaked out that. Like, he could have just sang it like Puddle of Mud, and instead he did whatever the fuck that was.
Yeah. Like I said, like, if your voice cannot sing Nirvana, don't try. Don't sing Nirvana.
Exactly. Like, he should have known that sounded terrible doing, like, a practice run. That's, like, honestly, like, I think that's, like, medically diagnosed delusional. If you think that was... Not only did you do that, but you thought that was good.
I mean, even in his response, he never said it was good. He did say that people who were criticizing it were jealous, but jealous of what? I compared you earlier to someone who's having a mental breakdown and not holding it in very well. Why would I want to sound like that?
Exactly. Well, the one comment said that, and like...
Yeah, it's just a mess. But anyway, it did launch Puddle of Mud back into relevance. So we decided to do this little podcast of their newest album. And I'm regretting agreeing to this podcast already. So we'll see how it goes.
No, this is gonna be fucking brilliant, man.
Fucking brilliant. It's gonna be the next big thing. It's the next Beatles album, is what
this is. This is better than Mozart. This is better than Beethoven. This is better than Jimi Hendrix. This is Puddle of Mud. Yeah.
You just say Mozart.
Mozart. That's how you pronounce it. M-O-Z-A-R-T.
No, it's Mozart.
It's M-O-Z.
Mozart. Mozart.
Look up how to fucking spell it. It's fucking Mozart.
I know it's spelled that way, but it's pronounced Mozart.
Where the fuck is the T in Mozart? I mean, besides, like, at the very end. But, like...
Where's the fucking T in Mozart except for, like, the very end?
No, but, like, where's the T to make it pronounce Mozart? Mozart. You're a fucking idiot, dude.
Mozart.
Wait, repeat that. Mozart. It said Mozart.
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 Mozart. I'm fucking right. Fucking everybody else is wrong.
Oh, it said Mozart.
Everybody else is wrong. The computers are fucking trying to take me down. They're jealous. They're jealous of my raw skill.
They're jealous. They're toxic, is what
they're toxic. I'm at my best right now. I'm sober. I'm sober, like Tool. Except I don't suck.
All right, so do you want to go on to the album now? I mean, I think we've pretty much procrastinated.
Yeah, I think we've like I think so. All right, let's take one for the team, baby. All right.
All right.
Are you ready? No? Well, here we go anyway.
Count down.
5, 4, 3, 2, and we are on the first track.
You don't know.
Loop.
Boom, 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 boom.
That is a tasty ass riff right there.
Meh.
Dude, if Rage Against the Machine did this fucking riff, you would be coming over it and you know it.
At least then it would have funk.
I didn't like. Well, it would have like a better bass section at least, but like. Actually, the bass.
It's going on for too long.
Well, at least it's getting like more complex. It has like a rhythm section.
Yeah, there's like
now.
a lead line to it, but it's not a good lead line. SpongeBob, why ain't off my lawn?
Oh shit! I totally forgot to mention. If you want to listen to this album, we will have a link in the description. Just go back to when we counted down. I'm sorry I did not mention this earlier. We will have a link in the description to this album on YouTube. We suggest turning off ad blocker, mainly because like you shouldn't be, giving money to pirates anyway. But also just because like
Jack Sparrow, in which case give plenty of money to him.
Yeah. Well, no, Johnny Depp sucks, but
fuck you.
Yeah, so we're sorry we did not mention that earlier on. Check out the description. We will have a time code so you can actually go back to the song with the time code.
The mixing is really bad. It sounds really muddy and...
Well, it is Puddle of Mud.
It doesn't...
I really like the bass tone. I love the guitar tone in this. It's really good.
I'm not really sure I'm with you.
It's mixed better than like their shit in 2002. It's like their shit in 2002, it was too harsh.
I mean, it's not a terrible mix, but it definitely isn't great.
It kind of sounds like their old stuff, but sort of more evolved.
Is that a good thing,
I will say, I wish, the vocals were a little bit more prominent in the mix, but again, vocals were never the strongest part in a Puddle of Mud album, so...
Yeah, and honestly, the instrumentals on this song really aren't blowing me away. Like, the original riff wasn't great, and they made it go on for too long, and they tried to add a little bit of versatility with the lead lines, but the lead lines were terrible. And they're still terrible. You can hear them.
I don't know,
this kind of goes back
to what I was saying before. This is kind of, it's not great, but it's average. Or maybe a little bit above average.
I'd say so far a little below. I would rather listen to most modern rock bands over that
I think it's on the same level as like maybe Nirvana or Rage Against the Machine or something like that. Like not instrumentally, Like I'm not saying the guitarist is any Tom Morello or anything,
Oh, shit.
but like.
All right, so we're on Uh-Oh now.
Yeah.
Now this was the single, and I thought it sounded terrible. I still think it sounds terrible.
You know, it kind of reminds me of like hair metal a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit, but that's not really a good comparison in my mind. Maybe apt, but it's not good.
You know, I liked this a lot more when it came out, but like this single, this is not very good. I would have like started the album out with You Don't Know, which is the first song on the album.
You mean you would have like led with it? You would have had that be the single?
I would have led with that as the first single. Actually, if you're on Spotify, can you check what the singles were for this album, if it says?
This chord progression is really overdone as well.
I would not
really
know
impressed.
anything about chord progressions. I'm not like a technical kind of person like that. Yeah, this song actually isn't very good. Yeah, you know what? I might have to see the light at least on this song. This song kind of sucks.
Yeah. Like 100,000 songs have used that chord progression.
Like,
not good.
I won't say it's like offensively bad or anything, but it's like not something I would ever want to listen to again.
Makes me want to barf. Oh.
Well, then you have a much weaker gag reflex than I do, hon.
Oh, that's a really bad solo. I mean, to be fair, Nirvana always had really bad solos as well, so maybe they're just being true to their influences.
I don't know. It sounds kind of good for, like, typical post. I think, like, the worst thing about Puddle of Mud is that they never evolved their sounds. Like I said, like, it's more evolved. I should say that. I should rephrase that. It's more better mixing.
Oh,
this is
God.
Awful. This is awful.
Yeah. Yeah, you fucked up this whole album, bro.
Fucked it up again.
That is not a good chorus.
Tyler, stop being toxic and jealous. He's at his best.
Sorry. I forgot.
He's at his best. He's hashtag sober.
He sounds better in this than he did in his cover.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to get to that level, I mean, I agree. I mean, a dead moose sounds better than fucking.
No. A dead moose is silent. Of course, it sounds better.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah, a dying moose sounds better, and that's more of an insult.
Yeah.
Christina singing sounds better.
Wow. Go to Hell is the third song.
Go to Hell is the next song.
Yes.
Really?
Everybody, everywhere. Everybody fucks.
Oh, God. This is really bad.
Please, Wes Scantlin, I haven't had many ill words for you before, like about a girl, but I beg of you, please stop doing acoustic songs. Your voice was not meant for that.
Well, it's not acoustic anymore, but God damn it, no.
No, it's back to acoustic, unfortunately.
Fuck. That is not a good riff. So, like,
in his defense, grunge, especially like the Nirvana kind of grunge that he's like modeled his entire career after, is like, it's like punk. It's like modeled after punk that has like really basic ass riffs that even a 5-year-old can do.
Okay, but you know what's a basic ass riff that even a 5-year-old can do? 99% of what the Dead Kennedys make. That doesn't mean it's bad.
That's what I'm saying. They're modeling themselves after shit like the Ramones, Sex Pistols, Dead Kennedys, shit like that.
I'm not saying this is bad because it's simplistic. I'm saying it's bad because it's bad. You know? Like, that's just not a good riff.
Like
oh
the
my
vocals,
god, that is bad.
I'll say this, like, if you thought... It sounds like Alice in Chains, though. It sounds like Alice in Chains, though.
It sounds like if Squidward was covering Alice in Chains.
Stay away. Yeah, they come to snuff the rooster. If you listen to fucking Alice in Chains, that shit's nasally as fuck. Don't fucking...
Okay, it is nasally, but...
And like, so are you. Fucking...
It works.
Squidward.
It doesn't work here.
Squidward. Like, I'm basically talking normal when I imitate Squidward. That's how nasally we both are.
Yeah, no kidding.
You sound like you have a constant head cold, and I'm not much better.
Well, I actually do have a head cold right now, so that probably doesn't help.
Oh, well, there you go. Fucking coronavirus.
Oh my god, these vocals are so bad.
He got coronavirus before it was cool.
Holy crap. Terrible melody. Terrible guitar riffs.
This song just goes on way too fucking long for its own good.
It's still going. Yeah. This is only a 4-minute song. This is worse than Creed.
You know what this sounds like? This sounds like... You know what this sounds like? It sounds like... Okay, any of the two people who owned a Wii U, aside from me... Okay. Any of the two people who owned a Wii U besides me have played Super Mario 3D World. And it sounds like the cat power-up from that.
That
like
sounds
Mario,
better.
like...
I would rather hear that on a grunge record than this.
Huh? You know what? If we ever get big, maybe you'll get your fucking witch.
I think part of my problem is I've always hated grunge. I said earlier I don't like Nirvana. I stand by that. Nirvana always had shitty instrumentals, except for the drums. The vocals were terrible. The melodies were really good. Masterclass. That's why they were big. But
okay, we are on Deceased Almost.
And once again, breathe in, it's terrible.
Breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe
What is it? That tone is dog shit.
I love it. What are you talking about? It's fucking electric. It sounds like fucking It sounds like fucking not Manson. Freak on a Leash, Korn, or was that 9 Inch Nails? Korn.
No, yeah, I mean, yeah, that's Korn, but no, it doesn't. It sounds like someone turned the treble way too far up.
I think it sounds fine. This entire album kind of has like
oh god, stop.
Not speaking to the actual quality of the music, but like the mixing is very rich. It's like really, it kind of reminds me of Pinkerton by Weezer, which is like, a lot of people will say it's mixed terribly, but I kind of like in its own sort of way, because it has sort of like a raw garage rock sound to it.
And it sounds
terrible. Really deep, like really deep bass, sort of rich sound.
I disagree. I think it's muddy. I don't think it sounds clear at all.
I mean,
and
yeah,
it doesn't have dirt. It's just muddy. I think there's a difference.
I think it is muddy, but I think that works.
I think it makes it worse. That riff is just so grating on my ears.
I don't mind this song. It's kind of alright.
It's like screeching.
Okay, the vocals in this suck though. Make me blind!
I think we can just agree the vocals are the worst part of this album by far.
Yeah, we can agree on that.
The mixing, okay, fine. The mixing,
I'm not even
you can
paying
argue,
attention
is
to the
not
lyrics, but I'm
terrible,
sure they're dog shit too. It's fucking Puddle
Oh,
of
yeah.
Mud.
But the instrumentals are so subpar, you'd think a 5-year-old had made it. There's absolutely
honestly,
no musical.
That's what I keep saying, though, is like I like that sort of bassy guitar tone. I like bands that do that, and unfortunately, not a lot of bands do.
It's not bassy at all. It's super
rhythm guitar
trebly.
isn't, but like,
oh,
well, the rhythm guitar isn't, but like the
like that is bassy to you?
No, not this, but like what they were doing earlier. Like this.
Yeah, like the
fucking,
first song.
what is it?
Sorry.
Not the rhythm guitar. I don't know my guitars. The other
rhythm
guitar.
is the background. The lead is what
the background,
is over the top it.
Yeah, so the background guitar is actually really good sound. Like I like that sound.
It's all right. The lead guitar sounds like shit, but
you know honestly, what I'm realizing? Like the only thing that stopped this album from sounding like a girl is all the fucking reverb on his voice.
You know what I think is really bad about this mix, actually?
What?
It's too compressed. And maybe that's just me speaking to my lack of mixing knowledge, but from what I understand, that's the correct terminology. It sounds like all of the instruments are fighting for dominance at all times.
Yeah,
There's no dynamic range. It's too compressed.
Oh, shit, this sounds good. This song is,
It's only been going on for 10 seconds, so.
I know, but my kind of crazy. But I love that guitar tone.
Isn't that an acoustic guitar?
Yeah, but it sounds good. Oh,
sounds
did
thin.
I say it's electric?
No, you just said guitar. I didn't know.
Oh.
It sounds thin, but other than that, it's all right.
Like, this is one of those things. This is like one of those things where it sounds bad, and then you realize there's like 7 layers of fucking reverb on his voice and like auto harmony or whatever. And it's so much worse.
This is probably the best song so far, but that's not saying much.
I would. No, like this one's kind of too ballady for me. I still think "You Don't Know" is actually a pretty good song. This, I will say this. I've definitely softened my position on this album. It's not as good as I thought it was. I remember when I first listened to this album, I actually thought it was pretty decent. This is like bad for Puddle of Mud standards.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hating it more this time around. This might be where I decided to just turn off the album.
Yeah, I think this is like where I decided to. I think like when you abandoned ship, I just abandoned ship with you.
I think you did, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much around there.
I'm going to just take a look at some of the lyrics because I want to be completely fair to this album.
Today is the great. By the way, while we're at it, fuck Billy Corgan and fuck Smashing Pumpkins. They are overrated as sin.
All right, but that song it's pretty good.
It's all right, but like. By the way, though, we should listen to this on like a future episode. The recent Smashing Pumpkins album, because it is the primal definition of a so bad it's good album. It's so hilarious. Like it is like the Room of music albums.
Oh wow.
What?
These lyrics are really, really bad.
I'm not really paying attention to the lyrics, so you'll kind of have to.
I mean, I wasn't.
Like I said, I'm trying to turn my brain off of this shit. It's fucking Puddle of Mud.
I'm just trying to give it any advantage.
This isn't fucking Gojira. It's Puddle of Mud.
But even for junk food, this is garbage.
Yeah, I kind of have to agree. This album is pretty fucking garbage. It's like, well, I don't know. It's like a below average, I would say.
I'm leaning on a
Like-
1 or 2 right now, man.
Oh.
Like, it's really
I'm
bad
gonna
for me.
have to see where I stand later. I think it's too early to make a calling for me. Too early to call.
I mean, it's definitely too early to call. I'm just saying, as if the album ended right now, it would be a 1 out of 10.
I think if it ended right now for me, I would say like maybe a 4 or 5. Like maybe a 4, because it's below average, I would say.
All right, so we're on Time of Our Lives now.
Hopefully this song is something unpredictable, but in the end it's right.
I hope you have the time of your life.
Yeah. That song sucks too.
Yes.
I am the arbiter of controversial opinions.
What the fuck does that even mean? Shallow heart deep inside. Are you saying that... What?
Shallow heart deep inside. I'm guessing like, I don't know, like that sounds like...
That's I'm 14 and this is deep. That's
exactly.
what that is.
Exactly. I mean, to be fair, that's what like most of the shit was, but even that's like more so even.
You know, despite the
Just one of those
terrible
days
lyrics.
where everything. You know what? I ranted about like comparing these guys to Limp Bizkit, but just one of those days when you don't want to wake up. Everybody sucks. Everybody's fucked.
You know, again, overdone chord progression, thin tone. It doesn't sound as much like everyone's fighting for dominance. There's a little bit more dynamic range, but not by much.
Like, even the drum beat, like, I can tell it's just like the boom, clap.
Yeah, the drums
clap,
are nothing
boom,
special.
Clap, boom, clap.
You know, as weird as it sounds, I may actually say the bass is the best part of this album.
Yeah, I might have to say as well. and actually, the bass is pretty good.
In the words of Glenn, your bassist is a useless cunt. And he's still the best one of you.
Who's Glenn?
I'll send you his channel later.
Okay. You know what? This is like basically, I've like, I hate this album. I hate this album. I'm a convert. You've converted me to the suck. This is basically insulting to all 5 senses. It, like, wait, hold on. Let me look at the album cover.
Yeah, even the album cover sucks.
It's like, it looks like a fucking Creed album. So it's offensive to my sight. It's offensive to the ears. It smells bad. I'm sure Wes Gantlin smells bad while he's making this. Probably smells like fucking booze and heroin.
There we go.
And then, like, you know, it's like one of the... I'm sure, like, if this album... Oh, okay. I'm sure if this album, you know, like, if I got the CD version of this album, it would probably feel like mud. Or it'd probably feel like slime. Like, everybody says slime is therapeutic. Everybody says slime is therapeutic. It gets on my hands and I don't like it. Exactly. It would feel like slime, and you know what? It would probably smell so bad that slime smell would smell so bad that it would get in your mouth and you would taste it.
Oh, you want to know what the next song's called?
What?
Sunshine.
I'm working on sunshine. Whoa!
Actually,
I can't even properly like make fun of that video though, because he does the parody himself. It literally could not be any worse.
That's again, it's just a batter.
This is like Puddle of Mud's earlier shit minus any of the catchy hooks.
Listen,
This is like Puddle of Mudd's
every
early shit minus the catchy hooks.
practically every song Kurt Cobain ever wrote has better riffs than anything on this album.
Yeah.
Okay, too far. There's some really bad Nirvana riffs, but quite a few Nirvana riffs are way better than anything this album has to offer.
Actually, I'll say this. This probably has the best hook out of any song on this album, so it might actually have to be my favorite.
It's got the best hook, but the riff is just so annoying.
I don't hate the riff. It's kind of catchy. Like, this might be like the first song I really think that's like kind of good.
Really? You think this is good?
Yeah.
Okay, I go back to the terrible instrumentals, the terrible vocals, the terrible mixing and mastering. I
still don't get why you don't like the mastering. I think the mastering is fine.
Like I said, it just doesn't sound like it has enough dynamic range. It
Like,
doesn't sound... Everything's fighting. I don't like that.
You know what? I think it's like kind of like, I'm not going to say it's the perfect mix, but it sort of does everything right. It's distorted where it needs to be, and it's clean where it needs to be.
That doesn't really have anything to do with the mix.
Well, I mean, like, I don't know, like, the bass kind of just seems really rich. You know what I mean? Again, perfect example is Pinkerton by Weezer.
Yeah, I mean, that album was mixed like shit, but, like, that was kind of part of its charm.
Exactly. Like, it sounds kind of, I hate saying raw because, like, fucking Lauryn Hill ruins that terminology for me. Everything is real. Like, that album is reality. Like, I can't say that anymore, but,
it's reality.
It's reality. But no, it's like, it sounds like a garage band. And I kind of like that, but I understand why I'm alone in that.
No,
technically,
it's
it
worse
does
than
sound
that.
bad. Like, yeah, objectively, it does sound bad, but that's kind of part of its charm.
Like, my problem is just that everything is the same volume.
I refuse to believe why that's a bad thing. Isn't, like, one of your favorite albums of all time Masters of Reality, and it's good for that exact reason?
No, not everything is the same volume. Like,
yes,
there's a lot of extreme range in that album. Like, you can hear the guitar on one level, you can hear the bass on another.
Is like the most prominent fucking thing in that mix.
They don't fight for dominance. They have two separate levels, two separate tracks. They play together, you know? I'm not an engineer. It's hard for me to describe these types of things, but, like, there's a difference.
Can you just describe the toxicity? The toxicity and your jealousy and your jealousy. No, I am at my best. Hashtag sober, sober.
Jesus Christ.
All right, we are on.
Oh, God, it's just, I'm so done with this album already. I'm so done with it. How much more do we have to go? Oh, thank God, only 2 more songs.
This song is called Just Tell Me.
Yeah.
Just tell me when this fucking thing's gonna be over. Yeah, am I right?
Even, like, honestly, the mix isn't even my biggest problem. It's just everything is so generic and boring and bad.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna have to say that. It's like, you know what? Like, this is a bad album, and at least if it was, like, bad in a memorable way, it might actually gain some points. Like,
I won't remember anything on this tomorrow. You know?
Yeah, exactly. Like Saint Anger, which is, like, one of the worst metal albums of all time, at least has that distinction of being one of the worst metal albums of all time.
And
so
it's memorable.
It's memorable. So, like, if I were to rate Saint Anger, I could not give it a solid flat 1. I would give it, like, maybe a 3 or a 4 just on the memorability of it alone.
You know, the thing about Saint Anger is that the mix is terrible, the vocals are terrible, the percussion is terrible, but There's actually some decent riffs on the album.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, there's some okay melodies.
And there's
Like,
some
it's
even
not
decent
complete dog
songs on
shit.
there. There's even decent songs on
Some
there.
Kind of Monster is a really good song. I don't care what anyone says.
Yeah. Same with Frantic.
Frantic, tick, 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 tock. That aged well.
Keep searching.
Saint Anger, the title track, will always be terrible, though.
Yeah. But, okay, I will actually defend Saint Anger a little bit. I'm going to say exactly what you said, but add one more thing. For anybody who hates Saint Anger just on the mix alone, there is a video on YouTube. I can't remember.
We can put it in the description.
I'm not going to bother putting that in the description. But it is... Just type in, like, Saint Anger Remixed. It's the entire album. It's on YouTube. Some fan
it's Saint
of
Anger
Metallica...
re-recorded.
Re-recorded, okay.
Yeah,
it's some fan remixing of Saint Anger, where they have, like, an entirely new drum beat, a much thicker and more metal guitar. Kind of sounds a little bit like Death Magnetic, which I also think sounds really terrible, but doesn't sound nearly as bad as Saint Anger.
I like Death Magnetic.
Yeah, well, I mean, like...
The mix is terrible, but everything else is pretty quality.
Yeah, I don't like it at all, but, like, we might have to do that one in a future episode as well. But,
yeah.
No, but, like, my point is, to anybody who doesn't like Saint Anger just based off of the mix alone, listen to this re-recording. It's like a brand new album. Brand new instrumentals, all new mixing, all new drum beat. Doesn't sound like you're banging on a garbage can. It sounds actually like a decent album. It sounds better than, like, you know, Saint Anger, which just sort of sounds like it should have been a rough demo that wasn't mixed at all.
Yeah, I think
like,
Saint Anger is going to catch people off guard if you listen to it in that re-recorded format, because I think people have such a negative viewpoint of Saint Anger that they refuse to listen to any of the good things about that album.
This song is called Kiss It All Goodbye.
Case in point, I remember watching a, like, top 10 Metallica riffs video or something like that, and they actually chose, like, a few riffs from Saint Anger, and people in the comments were like, what? That was Saint Anger? That was so good. That was fucking awesome. Why have I never heard that riff before?
You know what it is? It's like Saint Anger is one of those things where if you know the backstory behind it, which I think most diehard fans of Metallica do.
This is the best song on the album so far.
I still say Sunshine is the best song.
This sounds most like a Nirvana song. I still hate the lead tone on the guitar.
Sounds kind of like sounds like Weezer's with, like, the sort of twin guitar thing. Like, right? Like Buddy Holly.
A little bit, yeah. God, the vocals are so bad, though.
Yeah. What was I talking about, though, with Metallica?
Saint Anger's history.
Yeah, like, for those who know the history of that album, which, if you don't, it's really well documented. As of me posting this, there is a documentary on Netflix that
details like
the
two
entire
documentaries.
There's like 2 documentaries detailing the entire mess of the Saint Anger recording.
Isn't one like a documentary of the documentary?
Yeah, it is. It is.
Oh, that's funny.
I think it was like that documentary that basically kicked them into shape, put them, like, got them clean at least for a little while, and, like, recorded Death Magnetica, which, whatever your opinion is on that, you know, it's an album that... I'm sorry, I'm trying to say something good about Death Magnetic, and I can't really. I mean,
listen,
Unforgiven
the only problem with Death Magnetic is that it's mixed like ass.
No, my problem with Death Magnetic is that there is nothing memorable about that album in any way, shape, or form.
There's some really good riffs. There's some really good melodies.
No.
Like, The Day That Never Comes, I would put right up there with something like Fade to Black.
The
Fight
only
Me.
good thing about Death Magnetic, in my opinion, is the Unforgiven 3, and actually, it's funny that that's the good song on it, because that's the best of the trilogy of Unforgiven.
Yeah, which I think we actually talked about this in one of our other podcasts.
This song is ass. It goes on for way too long.
Yeah, I take back what I said earlier.
Yeah,
But,
this song sucks.
Like, the Unforgiven 1, I've never really loved. It's all right. Unforgiven 2, I used to really like. I'm not as big of a fan of it anymore. Unforgiven 3 is the only one of the trilogy that I think is actually a really, really good song. Is it over? Is it finally over?
No, there's like 15 more songs left.
Oh,
no! There's one more song.
Slide Away.
Oh my god. That last song that we were just saying that goes on forever was only 3 minutes.
Oh my god.
See, that's how bad this album is, guys. A 3-minute song feels like it's going on for 9 minutes. That's the test. That's just the tier list of how bad
Is this song gonna fucking save it? We should just like fucking rank this right now.
Yeah, it's like, this is the first song on the album that's like a 10 out of 10. And
This
the
is a
album's
10 out of
like
10
a 4 out of
song.
10.
Literally nothing is wrong with it. Actually, this might be like one of the worst songs on the album, actually.
So far it's generic. It feels like a filler track for this record.
No, you know why this is bad? Because Wes Scantlin's vocals are like up front and center in the fucking mix, so you can hear just how bad it is.
Well, it's not just that, but this acoustic riff sounds like every other acoustic riff on this album. It sounds the same.
So
the chord progression is shit.
Yeah.
The mixing is shit. The tone is shit. The vocals are shit. This album is shit. 1 out of 10.
I'm going to give it 2 out of 10 because
Sunshine.
I'm going to give it 2 out of 10 because Sunshine was okay and You Don't Know was okay. But even those songs, I'm not going to remember tomorrow.
There's not a single song on this album that I would even say is better than a 3 out of 10 if we're ranking individual songs. All of them are less than that. Some of them I would even give a 0. That's how bad they are.
It's a scale from 1 to 10, sweetheart.
I know.
Negative infinity out of infinity. Fuck it.
Negative 15,000.
Don't you mean over?
Negative 69. This song is under 9,000.
I hope so.
This album just pisses me off because it's just so annoying to listen to. It constantly grates on the ears.
This is the thing about this album and why I think it's even worse than you're saying it. You're saying it's bad. I'm saying it has left absolutely no impression on me whatsoever.
I won't remember anything about this album tomorrow except maybe the...
I'm not even going to remember that. I'm just going to remember the bad singing, the bad drums, the average everything else. This is like Michael Bolton levels of milquetoast.
Yeah, but not even good milquetoast. Terrible.
This is like fucking spoiled milk that you get at a high school cafeteria milquetoast.
Yeah, and you can't open the fucking carton of milk to begin
without it
with,
like fucking splattering all over you, and you end up smelling like rotten milk fart when you go into your next period class.
The milk is so solid that if you were to open
you want to
it,
hear
"Uh-oh"
again? Hey, you want to hear "Uh-oh" again?
No!
All right, so this album is officially over.
Well, we still have the clean version of "Uh-oh," but we're not listening to that.
What are you talking about? We should listen to that on repeat. That's not
Listen, so like in my opinion, there's not a single good song on this album. The only one that I would say maybe is okay is "Kiss It All Goodbye," and that's okay for this album. which is, like I said, a 1 out of 10. So take that however you want to take it. Uh-Oh is one of the worst songs I've ever heard.
There are like certain parts. You know what? I said 2 out of 10. I might have to say 1.75.
1.75. At least go 1.69. Come on.
Okay, fine. 1.69. That's as low as I will go.
Oh, really? How low can you go? 69. That's how low I'll go. This album is dog shit.
No, you know what? I think it's 4.20 out of 10.
Honestly, this is straight up one of the worst albums I've ever heard. And I've heard a lot of bad albums.
This is not the worst. This is far from the worst album I've ever heard. Maybe
you've heard way more albums than me.
Yeah. So, like, this is far from the worst thing I have ever heard. It's too generic to give it that kind of a title. And honestly, if it was...
Yeah, I mean, it's generic.
And I will say this. If this was the worst album I ever heard, I would rank it higher.
Really?
If this was the worst album I ever heard, I would rank it higher just because, like I said, there is a bit of an art to being bad. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like, you know, like there's a bad movie that is just bad and has no redeeming qualities about it, and not even like any memorable qualities of its badness.
That's what this album's like.
And I can't give an example of a movie like that because if a movie is that bad, you don't remember it.
Pretty much.
If a movie has no lasting impact on you,
Slender Man.
You don't remember it. Slender Man was okay.
No, not that one. It's called Always Watching. Marble Hornet Story.
Oh, I don't know about
that. I had to remember the name.
Yeah.
That was one of the most like terrible movies that I've ever seen that I wouldn't remember.
Yeah. Well, like then you have like terrible like The Room or Trolls 2 or
But those are memorable.
Birdemic. Exactly. Those are memorable. So like that's why I compare like Saint Anger to The Room. It's not even well like even I can't even say that. It's more like I don't know. It's like yeah, like this album is more like Slender Man or the Da Vinci Code or something like that.
I like the Da Vinci Code.
Well, I mean, like
as a kid, anyway. I haven't seen it in years.
I haven't seen it ever, but like you know,
Did you just say you haven't seen it?
I've never seen it ever, and I'm just kind of going off of reputation of like it's a really boring movie.
I don't know. I used to love it. Like I said, I haven't seen it in years, but it's beside the point.
Yeah. But, like, it, you know, a movie that is so bad it's not even memorable, that is a 1 out of 10 for me.
Really?
A movie that is bad but is funny or has some sort of memorable element gets a few ticks up. Like, Room, for me, would be like a 3 out of 10 movie, and those 2 extra ticks are just because it's funny.
Yeah, but I would also say that there are movies that are so bad they're bad, and they're memorable because of just how bad they were. Not because they were funny or enjoyable, but just because of how bad of an experience it was. You know?
I guess you're right. Like, I would say, yeah, and like that's sort of like what Puddle of Mud is. It's not memorable, and the only thing you would remember about that album if somebody brought it up to you is just the bad experience you had with it.
Yeah. I will not, like, usually with these podcasts, I'll listen to the album one more time after the podcast. I'm not doing that with this one. I'm not sitting through this album again. You couldn't pay me enough money to. You really couldn't. You could be like, here's $1 million.
Little banter, motherfuckers.
Okay, maybe $1 million. But
huh?
I said you couldn't give me $1 million, and I was like, yeah, well, maybe for $1 million. But,
dude, I'm a fucking whore. If somebody gave me $1,000 to listen to this album again, I'd do it. I'd do it for free. I'd do anything for free money.
I mean,
I'm getting fucking free money in the mail just by existing in this country.
true. I wish I did.
Yeah, you suck because you're poor. No, I'm kidding.
No, if somebody offered me $5,000 to listen to it, then maybe I would. But I wouldn't go below that.
Look, if somebody offered me $100 to listen to this album, I would.
Seriously, for $100? No.
Hey,
It's not worth my time.
$100 buys like 2 video games.
One video game, unless it's like old.
I don't know, like what? The new Final Fantasy is $50.
Is it? I thought it was 60.
I don't remember.
You don't remember?
I think it's $49.99 now.
I thought it was 60. Persona 5 Royal, which is the one I was talking about buying, is also 60, which kind of sucks.
Okay, so you can buy like one video game and then like the DLC.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, maybe that's worth it. Like, if somebody said, I will buy you Persona 5 Royal to listen to that album again, I'd be like, okay.
Yeah. Like, I'm just saying,
$60.
I'm a greedy-ass millennial, and I'm a whore, all right?
Yeah, I mean, I always like to tell this story. So I used to work at a restaurant, and in the restaurant we had this older woman named Sharon. And so one day...
Karen? Did you say Karen? Sorry.
Sharon. No, one day we were talking about what we would do for money, and one of the guys who works there, Dom, was like, "Would you suck a dick for money?" And like all the girls
of course
were
a
like,
guy named
no.
Dom would say that. Sorry.
They were all like, no. And then I was the one who was like, yes, I would. I would totally suck a dick for money. And he was like, well, how much would you do it for?
Yeah, I was going to say, how much money would it be?
I mean, like, I told him that the lowest I would go was $5,000, but, like, I wouldn't tell the guy who's paying me that. I'd be like, why don't you give me $8,000 and I'll do it for $10,000.
Yeah, obviously you got to haggle in that situation.
Got to upsell. But
you gotta haggle a bit, you know, like be the used car salesman of dick sucks.
I mean, like realistically, if I'm good enough, it's only gonna last 10 minutes anyway. So
yeah, you know, I would charge by the minute. I would be like $100. I would if I were to suck a guy's dick, I would be like $1,000 per minute.
You just like bite every single minute so that he doesn't come. No, but she started like she went in the back and like started squirting ranch on her face, like oh. It was funny. Oh, God.
What would you do for a Klondike bar?
I would suck a dick over listening to this album again.
I mean, look.
If you were like, would you rather suck a dick or listen to this album again? I would rather suck a dick. That's how much I hate it, bro. Like. I hate it that much. It was so bad.
No, like if anybody's like binge watching these shows, they're gonna think we're gay. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with being gay. No.
It's okay to be
gay. For people who don't know, my girlfriend is in the room with me while we do these podcasts, so she can hear this whole conversation. That's the best part.
Okay. So,
all right, so also, you want to wrap it up?
Well, like one more thing I want to add to this dick suckraversy.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, I think like the other factors, like the quality of the penis.
The quality of the penis.
No, like if it's like a fucking STD-ridden motherfucker, you would have to charge me a lot more.
It's got like 4 lumps on the head.
It's got like
all right, that's going to be another $5,000, please.
$10,000 per lump. What are you talking about? They're not loves. They're my fucking penis titties.
Penis titties.
My pinupples.
You want to suck the milk out of them?
Pinupples.
Like for every single genital wart, another $10,000. You're like combing through his pubic hair to find all the warts. Like, have I counted this one yet? Oh, that one's Jerry. Well, just because you named it, 50,000.
Also, you have to be clean shaven. I look. If I'm going to suck your dick, you have to put some time and effort into making my dick suck worthwhile. I have to have a good quality, clean dick suck.
A good quality, clean dick suck. Yeah, I mean, I think we can all get behind that.
Exactly. I am not saying that I would willingly suck a dick for free. All right, well, that's the end of the podcast.
Oh,
all right.
God.
Well, goodbye.
Bye.